Greetings. I'm just gonna jump right into this. This is day 5 of anchoring your inner sovereignty. Yesterday, which we just finished filming, had to do with owning our emotions, our emotional body. And at the end of that session together, we had a message that came through. So I am gonna just jump in. Please, if you have not set your sacred space, please set your sacred space. Let's take 3 breaths together. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Second big breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth, dropping into the heart space, calling in all benevolence, our benevolent guides that are here. Last big deep breath collectively, and out through the mouth. Beautiful. Okay, so this message was coming through about blocks to anchoring our sovereignty. And it was interesting because it's coming through with these cards in front of me that I'll show you in a way where it's showing like it's like coming through like what we're not seeing, like what is blocking us from owning our power, owning our anchoring our inner sovereignty. And it's like this like unwillingness to integrate the ego. And some of us may know that. Some of us may know like we may have an ego problem, or it's the thing about the ego is so interesting because it transforms and morphs with each up level you have. And so the mask like transforms, like it updates, it morphs to try to find a way to continue, right? And there's nothing wrong with the ego. I'm not of like the you need to kill your ego like school of thought, but I am feeling called to share this. So there's like a transforming of it where it like adapts and mutates as you level up, and there's like a new form where I'm hearing like spiritual ego, where on the path it becomes so much so that like you don't even think like you have an ego anymore, and that in and of itself is part of the issue. Or it's a righteousness. Oh, it looks like a righteousness, and this energy like a self-righteousness, and not the righteousness of Jesus like we talked about like before, which is like more in alignment, anchored in the divine. Like we're talking about it from an energetic standpoint, and it's a little bit hard to use words with to explain this to you all. So I pray that this is serving, and for those this message is resonating for, this it resonates and it makes sense. But there's a difference, right, between like being like internally confident from love, anchored in who you truly are, and then being arrogant and like fake confident to cover up like this like deep self-hate, or this fear of not having light, or this fear of not having any value or worth, that's masquerading as arrogance or confidence. Hope that makes sense. So it's not so much about the words, it's about the energy behind what is anchored. Okay, like if my yes, okay, it's making sense. Thank you. And so this mutated version of the ego, it seems, this is a higher level message, it seems to always be related. So wherever you are in the path, whether you feel like you're just beginning or whether you feel like you've been doing this, for some time, this will serve you. Because if you're on the beginning, then you're like, oh, I can look out for this. And if you're, farther along, you can be like, I can also look out for this. Like this is like, something that seems to be universal is what I'm getting. And so in integrating, okay, so that's why. And that not integrating that part of the ego is going to be related to this not seeing our light, not anchoring our light, not knowing our true identity, which is why I mentioned yesterday and why I think it's coming through. And most of these messages, I feel like we're just saying like the same thing in different ways so that it downloads and really recalibrates us, is it's very important to know your true identity. And your true identity, like, I'm gonna like say it, right? But it's different when you have experienced it, when you've learned it for yourself, when you embody it for yourself and you accept it as the truth for yourself, is that you are source of light. You are love. Your true identity is a divine, holy, sovereign child of God. And the ego mutating mask stuff only ever comes up when there's that part of us that's mutated or trying to hold on to saying like, we're not those things. We're not love. We are not a holy child of God. We are not light. So those are never true. Those voices, those messages never have been true. Never have been true. Never have been true. Okay? They've never been true. Yet we get tricked. Again, that word indoctrinated keeps coming up in this program so far, right? We get indoctrinated. We get taught directly, indirectly, that is true, right? And we misunderstand how energy works, how the world works. And we accept that within ourselves, and we're essentially accepting the feeding of our energy by those energies that are saying those things, that benefit from us misidentifying and self-identifying as such. This is very deep today, so please, breathe, drink water, and try your best to be open-hearted and understand I'm speaking from unconditional love and embodied truth. I'm not teaching anything that I haven't anchored within my body. That's just not who I am. I wouldn't be allowed to. That's not how I do things. It's not, yeah. I just know that that's not real teaching, So with all that being said, this comes from the heartbreak. There goes a layer deeper, right? So this resistance to integrating the ego, to knowing who we truly are, to knowing our identity as light, comes from a deep heartbreak. Okay, that's the last layer of this message, and I'll show you guys the cards like this, how it came out after. It's like a deep heartbreak this energy is connected to. Okay, like a heartbreak of being separated from God, or believing we are separated from God, which is also an illusion, which is also false. We have never been separated from God, our benevolent, pure source creator. It has just been these veils that we have bought into, that we put on to interact, to be normal, to, whatever, like got taught to do it. But the point is, we did it to ourselves at a certain point, because of this heartbreak of feeling so alone and left by our divinity, by ourselves, abandoning ourselves, that deep abandonment wound that runs through the collective. These wounds that we've experienced in our own personal forms are collective deep wounds across our lineages, across our collectives. So these wounds of abandonment by God, these wounds of heartbreak by God, these wounds of unworthiness, not being worthy, they are common. There's a common universal thread through our humanity consciousness, right? That we're all collectively healing now, because we understand this was never true, or we're coming to ready to understand that this was never true. Let that sink in. I really feel Jesus here. I think I'm gonna read the Jesus Calling book. Let me see if I have it. Just breathe while I get this book fresh. Okay. And so this is the work of coming back into our inner sovereignty, is understanding what has happened from a zoomed out lens, a super simplified breaking it down for us lens, right? And I feel that for some of us to hear this, it's like very profound and jarring, and our bodies might be resistant. And that's okay, because it's not really us. And this is not ever from fear. This is from love. This is from empowerment. This is from, you deserve to know the truth. That there are energies that benefit, forces that benefit from misunderstanding and misidentifying. Every time we don't remember, like us not remembering feeds other things, other timelines, other worlds, other energies that are no longer allowed on this earth and no longer will be. The time is done. It's over. It's been over. Again, like yesterday, that already exists. Our positive future already exists. We're just lining up with it. We're just embodying it. We're just doing our parts, right? Together in this space and on our own when we go back to our own spaces. It's who we are. I know that if you're here. Like, I just know. All right, let's read the Jesus Calling reading for today. Listen to me continually. I have much to communicate to you. So many people and situations in need of prayer. I am training you to set your mind on me more and more, tuning out distractions through the help of my spirit. Walk with me in holy trust, responding to my initiatives rather than trying to make things fit your plans. I died to set you free, and that includes freedom from compulsive planning. When your mind spins with a multitude of thoughts, you cannot hear my voice. A mind preoccupied with planning pays homage to the idol of control. Turn from this idolatry back to me, listen to me, and live abundantly. It's so interesting because yesterday it unfolded the emotional body, owning of our emotional body. And today it genuinely looks and feels like the owning of our mental body, of our higher mental body and our lower mental bodies as we've experienced them. And what I just described to us through this message of the layers of not integrating the ego, of not anchoring the light, not seeing that we are the light, right? Resistance to integrating the ego, or resistance to seeing the new mutated version of the egos, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the clock, and the deeper wound of not having the heartbreak healed and not understanding it. They all came out upside down, and it literally spoke like that, like so beautifully. Like, I'm so grateful and honored. And it's like, that is, and then at the top of the deck, we have, in my intuition flows whenever I am still, hearing inner guidance, right? And these purple cards, this ego, is all about the mind. We're talking about your 6th chakra. For those of you that are still using that, are interested in learning that system and know that system and work with that etheric system of understanding our energetic bodies, one layer of it, a spiritual body, is on our mental body, is our intuition, right? It sits in our 3rd eye, right? That's where we see the vision. That's the higher mental body. And so owning our thoughts, owning our misunderstandings helps us shift them, beloveds, soul family, siblings, okay? And it's a beautiful thing, right? Because together we're rewriting the subconscious, right? The more I embrace feeling good, the less often I will feel bad. And a message that's coming through is that when we're going through these changes mentally, right, what can happen is we're rewiring what is good and what feels bad. And for some of us, okay, this message is coming through very clearly. For some of us, there was a misunderstanding of feeling good in the victim consciousness, feeling good in the lower mental body, feeling good in the resistance, feeling good in not acknowledging our light, feeling good in the heartbreak. But it was a coping mechanism and not true, because you could never really feel good until you were in your power, until you remember who you truly are, which is love, which is light, right? So just for whoever that was for specifically within this collective group, there's like, I see like a group of us who are going to resonate with that, not everyone. So just understand that that could happen. If that doesn't resonate for you, that could happen to maybe clients or people you work with, right? It's like another way of explaining the energy is like miswiring, like what is safe and what is unsafe. And so like unsafe becomes like labeled as safe. And so it's back to my point, sorry for the pause, it's like the miswiring could be labeled right, so like, okay, I'm gonna start it again. So basically like saying that something that is unsafe gets wired like in the body and the nervous system and the experience as safe, and then something that is safe gets wired as unsafe, right? So it's like a misreading, misunderstanding, the signals get cross-wired. And this also happens with our intuition and our inner guidance. And again, we're gonna wait, there's a plane. And so when we let's just breathe. Yes, so misunderstanding what's divine guidance and what's guidance from other energies or entities or forces that benefit from us harming ourselves, right? Like not knowing things, not remembering who we truly are. And so like that's part of the work, right? Like, so for those of you who are familiar with like somatic stuff and physical rewiring, it's the same thing with the mental body and the emotional body. It could be the same in the spiritual bodies, and understanding how our true guidance works. And so we are doing a lot of that rewiring and like reconfiguring together in these spaces, receiving these messages and showing up every day. So today really, really feels like an owning of our mental body space and understanding what has happened with the ego, which I would associate with something that exists in the mental space, mental dimensions, in my opinion, in my work. It could be different for you. That's okay too. Yeah. So just apply it how it can apply for what you understand and what you know to be true. A lot of us are here to hold our truths so that other people can activate their own truths, and they don't have to always be exactly the same, right? Yeah, there's like these personal truths. So I'm hearing big T, so like God's truth, like the divine, like universal law, like things that are like purity, that are unchangeable and exist. And then there's our individual little t, smaller truths. That comes from one of my favorite teachers who taught that. Yeah, and they're all true at the same time. Okay, that feels so complete. So let's get the next card. Everyone has the opportunity to contribute to the beauty and harmony of the world by showing kindness to all living things. That which we freely give life to flows back to us because we are equally part of that life. Like ripples in the water, every gift returns to the giver. This is why it's important to share what you do have to share, you know? And that's why that's part of how this series came about. It's like there's stuff I could share freely and lovingly and in love and channeling so many levels. And it's like, it's just important to just do that. Like, that's why we're here, and everything else will work itself out. That's a separate random caveat message that came through, but this really does have to do with being kind to yourself and learning these things and unlearning these things and receiving these messages, and like allowing the process of the rewiring that's happening together in real time. There's one final reading, and then we'll go into space together, okay? And one final card that's going with the reading. So interestingly enough, we're going to come back to okay, thank you. So letting go of denial. We are slow to believe that which, if believed, would hurt our feelings. Whew. Denial is a self-protection mechanism, okay? It's not a negative thing. It's a way to protect our nervous systems, protect our minds, protect our hearts from things that we aren't ready to believe or know. But if you're here now, you're ready to know these things because you're ready to own your power, or you're already in the process of owning your power, and you just need like that, like this space to be held for you, or and to hear these like truths and like these tidbits to put these dots together for yourself, you know? So let's read this reading together. Most of us in recovery have engaged in denial from time to time. Some of us relied on this tool. We may have denied events or feelings from our past. We may have denied other people's problems. We may have denied our own problems, feelings, thoughts, wants, or needs. We denied the truth. Denial means we didn't let ourselves face reality, usually because facing that particular reality would hurt. It would be a loss of something: trust, love, family, perhaps a marriage, a friendship, or a dream. And it hurts to lose something or someone. Denial is a protective device, a shock absorber for the soul. It prevents us from acknowledging reality until we feel prepared to cope with that particular reality. People can shout and scream the truth at us, but we will not see or hear it until we are ready, beloved. We are sturdy yet fragile beings. Sometimes we need time to get prepared, time to ready ourselves to cope. We do not let go of our need to deny by beating ourselves into acceptance. We let go of our need to deny by allowing ourselves to become safe and strong enough to cope with the truth. We will do this when the time is right. We do not need to punish ourselves for having denied reality. We need only love ourselves into safety and strength so that each day we are better equipped to face and deal with the truth. We will face and deal with reality on our own time schedule, when we are ready and in our higher power's timing. We do not have to accept chastisement, right? Like ridicule from anyone, including ourselves, for this schedule. We will know what we need to know when it's time to know it. Today, I will concentrate on making myself feel safe and confident. I will let myself have my awareness on my own time schedule. Ooh, that was so good. Let's breathe. Yes. So there are some of you who may, come into this particular, like this transmissions may need to do this a couple of times or another time. I see some folks rewatching some of the videos or doing the whole thing over again after it's done. And that's beautiful. And just honor your timing, and you'll get something different each time you rewatch or you redo this series completely, or parts of it that you feel called to. Big deep breaths in, hands palms together, thumbs to the heart center. Big deep breaths in all the way down to your sit bones, feeling your sit bones in your seat, out through the mouth. Just giving ourselves grace, receiving the grace. I'm just seeing a beautiful, beautiful golden orb above our heads of pure benevolent Christ light, and it's showering down. Breathing, experiencing whatever energy work is coming through for you. Benevolence only. Just receiving the peace, recalibrating, forgiving ourselves for the denial we have been in previously to our own truth, our own power, and the truth of the divine, the truth of who we truly are. Ready to remember now. Big deep breath still. Understanding how, of course, that happened. Like, Why, of like, anyone would have thought those things or misidentified with the emotions or the thoughts? Like, of course, try that on. Duh. That makes sense, right? That's why that happened. But it's over now. Let's keep breathing. Keep breathing, eyes closed. Beautiful. Just receiving the healing available to you now. With every breath, breathing in such goodness, such peace, and breathing out anything that no longer serves out through the mouth, to be transmuted and returned back to you at the appropriate time, cleansed and healed, renewed. Receiving any messages, any information, and just practicing being in stillness. If there are thoughts running, just let them run. Don't follow them, just watch them. Try to sit back on your throne in your heart or your mind's eye and just watch as we sit in silence together, sharing space, beloveds. It feels good to put your hands on your lap, please do, or keep them at heart center, palms pressed together. Honor what you're being guided to do for this session, portion of the session. Don't accept or reject anything, just practice noticing. Sitting back, shoulders back. Beautiful. Eyes open, eyes closed. Activating your own gifts, your own self-healing, tapping into your own inner knowing. All I'm doing is holding the space as you hold the space for yourself. Use your own healing energies. Beautiful. Just continuing to breathe as I close out with today's psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Giving so much thanks to you, beloved soul family, for showing up today. Praying that served. Just let it integrate. Take your time with it. Let's read the affirmations you can use for today, or however long you have for using this that came through. We'll put them all in the upright so you can choose what feels good. The more I embrace feeling good, the less often I will feel bad. Rewiring the subconscious. My intuition flows whenever I am still. Hearing inner guidance. I did hear some of you may want to sit for longer after we close out our time together. Anchoring the light. The light is always within me, right? You are the light. Source love light. Source light love. Integrating the ego. Everything is for me, not against me. And healing heartbreak. My heart will love again. Beautiful. All right. Until tomorrow's church, class, reading, meditation, energy work, all of the things, session. Sending so much love as we are anchoring our inner sovereignty. You're doing it, family. We're doing it. All right. Till next video.